Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Padam Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutrabhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavadvyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye. Om Namo Brahmadibhyaha Brahma Vidya Sampradaya Kartrabhyaha Vamsharshibhyaha Mahadbhyaha Namo Gurubhyaha. Yajnavalkya declared before Maitreyi that I am going to renounce this life, I am going to take the life of renunciate, and there is nothing to worry about after my departure, because I have made enough provision for you as well as the other, your co-wife, that is the Katyayani, left enough wealth for both of you. Then Maitreyi asked a very unusual question. Sahovacha Maitreyi, Maitreyi said, Yanduvayam bhagoho sarva prithvi vittena purna syat. O Venerable Sir, if this entire earth filled with riches were mine, was given to me, belonged to me, katham ten amritasyamiti, would I become immortal because of that? How would I become immortal? Would I become immortal if I receive all the wealth? How would I become immortal? Would I or how? No iti hovacha Yajnavalkya. Yajnavalkya said, no. Yasev upakarnavatam jivitam tasev te jivitam syat. With the wealth or the money, you will be able to live a comfortable life. With all the means of comfort available to you, that's all that the wealth can provide to you. Amritatvasya nashasti, but there is no hope or there is no possibility that you can become immortal by wealth or money. In a traditional way, Bhashyakara would explain this, where with or wealth would mean karma, meaning that, as we said this morning, for performing any Vedic rituals or performing any activity, you require resources which are in the form of wealth of different kinds. And wealth then amounts to saying that you can perform whatever kind of karma you want to perform to attain whatever you want in this world or the other world. Therefore, the vittam or the wealth here stands for the happiness or the pleasure that one can gain in this world or the other world. But immortality you cannot attain. Hey Maitri, you cannot attain immortality because immortality is not something to be attained. With karma, with action, with the wealth as the resources, you can accomplish whatever is not accomplished. What is accomplishable, you can accomplish. Karma or action is the means of accomplishing what is not accomplished, or karma is the means of accomplishing what can be accomplished. How amrutatvam, immortality, does not fall in the category of that which can be accomplished. Then what? If immortality cannot be accomplished, does it mean I can never become immortal? If you cannot accomplish immortality, would it mean that I would never become immortal? But as you said in the morning, every human being desires to be immortal. And immortal, as we explained, means that freedom from death, which also includes freedom from ignorance, also includes freedom from sorrow. Every human being is seeking freedom, and the freedom can be defined or explained as freedom from death, freedom from sorrow, freedom from ignorance. So immortality also would mean freedom from death, literally, but freedom from ignorance, freedom from sorrow. With wealth or by any worldly means you cannot accomplish, means you cannot accomplish these things. Therefore, the wealth cannot be a means of accomplishing because it is already accomplished. The idea is that immortality is not something to be accomplished. It is something that is already accomplished, meaning that it is your nature, and therefore you discover that as your nature, as we stated here. So far, Sage Yajnavalkya said that you cannot accomplish immortality. Sahovacha Maitreyi yena hamna amrutasyam kimam tena kuryamiti. Then Maitreyi said that what need do I have of that by which I cannot become immortal? What need do I have? The only thing that I need is immortality. Now this is a great discovery in one's life. This is what we call Viveka, which brings about Vairagya. Viveka is explained as discrimination. But Viveka basically means discerning what it is that I want in life. Usually a person does not take time to ask oneself, what is it that I want? That I want something in life is evident because the desires are arising one after the other, and in spite of fulfilling countless desires, the desirer has still sustained. And what makes me uncomfortable is my status as a desirer, because a desirer means one who is not satisfied with what he has or what he is. Desire shows, as you say in the morning, the dissatisfaction of my own self, and I cannot be comfortable when I am not satisfied with myself. We said in the morning also that the source of all our discomfort, all our unhappiness or sorrow is the dissatisfaction with my own self. Dissatisfaction with anything else has its source in dissatisfaction with my own self. Usually this is something that generally a person doesn't pay attention to. We take for granted the desires that I have, the needs I have are genuine needs, and I keep on fulfilling those needs by performing one action after the other, and that is how the whole life goes. It's likely that, endless lives may go like that. So recognizing that the desirer has not yet gone, so when one thinks about that, what is it that I am seeking? Viveka is that I am seeking something, alright. What is it that I am seeking? That I am seeking immortality, freedom from death, etc. I am seeking infinite. Next question is, can that infinite be accomplished? Whatever is accomplished is always limited. Whatever is accomplished as a result of some effort. And every effort is limited. And therefore, what we accomplish as a result of effort also is going to be limited. In that case, this seems to be a never-ending pursuit, because I am constantly seeking to accomplish the immortalness which cannot be accomplished. And that's what Maitreyi says, that by wealth we mean any kind of external means, and what is meant to be said here is that immortality is not something that can be accomplished. Yadeva Bhagavan Veda Tadeva me Bruhiti. Whatever it is that your Venerable Sir knows as a means of immortality, please teach me that. So somehow there seems to be insight here that immortality is something you discovered by knowledge rather than by an action. Yadeva Bhagavan Veda Tadeva me Bruhiti. Yadeva Bhagavan Veda, whatever your Venerable Sir knows, please teach me that. Which means that this immortality is something to be known, meaning that is to be discovered as a result of knowledge rather than to be attained as a result of action. So this is a very important discovery in life. That when a person discovers this fact, yes, I am seeking something in life is very evident, and that in spite of fulfilling any number of desires, the desire never seems to disappear. Then is it possible that the means that I have adopted to fulfill my desire, are they not the right means? That karma or action or effort perhaps is not the right means to accomplish what I am seeking. Meaning that what I am seeking is already accomplished. It is not stated here. But this is something that a person recognizes. That would be the most important discovery or recognition in one's life. Number one, that I am seeking something, and number two, what I am seeking cannot be accomplished. That means it's already accomplished. That means that it is something that is discovered by knowledge. This is some kind of a miracle that takes place in the life of a person. In Mundaka Upanishad also it says, Parikshalokan karmachitan brahmano nirvedamayat nasti kritah kritena. That when a contemplative person thinks about life, about whatever is accomplished as a result of various karma or efforts, nasti kritah kritena, he recognizes that what I am seeking is something uncreated. What I am seeking is something uncreated, something which means eternal, something that is already existing, something that is already there. and therefore it cannot be accomplished through karma. Now, this kind of a discovery, I would think that it is nothing but grace of Ishvara or some result of the past punya karma, that this insight should come in the life. Akrutah, that what I am seeking is akrutah, uncreated, meaning already existing, nitya, eternal. What I am seeking in my life is eternal, is already there. It is not something to be accomplished, it is something to be discovered. This would be a great discovery in one's life. And in different ways we are shown. In Arjuna also, he was also seeking to accomplish something for which he came to the battlefield. And some churning happened in his mind. All of a sudden he says, Shishyasteham Shadimam Swam Prapannam. Oh Lord, I am your disciple, I am surrendered to you. Please teach me what it is that I need to know. So this insight came in the mind of Arjuna also, that he needed to know something. So from the whole orientation of seeking something, accomplishing something, now there is a new orientation of knowing something. Now there are two different dispositions of mind, understand? A mind that wants to accomplish is one kind of mind, they are all looking for means of efforts. Whereas a mind that wants to know is a different disposition of mind. And thus that kind of a transformation has to take place in the mind, which here Maitreyi displays, which Arjuna also displayed in the Bhagavad Gita. And thus Maitreyi became a jignasu, one who was the seeker of knowledge. From a seeker of immortality, she became the seeker of knowledge. Yadeva Bhagavan Veda Tadeva me bruhiti. Whatever it is that your Venerable Sir knows as the means of immortality, the means of accomplishing immortality, please teach me that. That is what made Yajnavalkya very pleased. So next passage, Yajnavalkya says, on the page number 9, passage number 4, Sahovacha Yajnavalkya Priyabata Are Nasati Priyam Bhashase Ehi Asva Vyakhyāsyāmite Vyachakshanasthatu Me Nididhyasasva iti. Sahovacha Yajnavalkya Priyavatare Nahasati. He Yajnavalkya, my dear, will always been dear to me. Meaning that Maitreyi is always loved by Yajnavalkya. You are always, I always loved you. So what's the difference today? I specially love you. Why? Because not only you are my wife, but I see that you are a seeker of knowledge. And then a special love is there. Love that a teacher has for the disciple. Yajnavalkya always loved Maitreyi. His husband loves a wife. But today I especially love you because to discover this in someone whom you love, to see that that person is on the right path. You always wish, people always, Swamiji, how can I make my husband take interest in Vedanta? Or vice versa, but usually it is this way. Because she has discovered in course of years how beneficial Vedanta has been, how it has brought about a change, a transformation in the life, and how it has made the person happier than what earlier was. And when you love somebody, you want them also to get the benefit of this. How can I bring my husband to this retreat? And when husband shows, I want to come to a retreat, she will be extremely happy, So today, when Maitreyi said, I want to know, Yajnavalkya was extremely happy. Now when he says that you are always loved by me, but today you are specially loved by me, that's a different kind of love, the love that a teacher has for the disciple. Well, you have for your dear one or beloved, for something that you find is going to now be beneficial to that person, that your beloved has found the right path, the path of eternal happiness. That your loved one has discovered the destination in life. You see a commitment for the destination in someone whom you love, and that makes you mighty happy. So this happiness that Yajnavalkya expresses right now for Maitreyi is happiness of a different kind. Hey Maitreyi, you have always been dear to me, but today you say what is very much dear to my own heart. So this is how in the Bhagavad Gita also Lord Krishna says, Tad viddhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshantite jnanam jnaninas tattvadarshinaha. Here Arjuna may approach the wise and learned people, prostration, pranipata, dirgha prostration, sevaya, serve the teacher. Meaning that please the teacher. Now what do you mean please the teacher? Teacher is supposed to be always pleased. That is what we think, that the learned people are pleased with themselves, so they don't need to be pleased by others. But you specifically please your teacher. How? By displaying that you are a seeker of knowledge. When your teacher discovers that you are a seeker of knowledge, there will be a special pleasure in him. That is what will motivate him to teach you. Wise people are all great people, they are all loving people, and then come there, give you prasad and everything is fine. But when that person discovers that you are a seeker of knowledge, tad viddhi pranipatena sevaya pariprashnena, you surrender to that person, to the wise person, serve him. And this serving is an important phase because that is where you discover a certain bond. When you serve a person, you are with that person and you discover the greatness or glory of that person, the virtues of that person at close quarters. And you also imbibe those virtues. Therefore, serving a person is an important aspect of your growth. Tad viddhi pranipatena, even though pariprashnena comes in between, the Pathakrama, as I say, is Pranipata, Pariprashna and Seva. The Arthakrama, meaning the Krama, the sequence of meaning is Pariprashna, Seva, the Pranipata, Seva and Pariprashna. Here Arjuna may approach the wise person, serve him, please him. Please him by your sincerity. When discover that you are a seeker of knowledge, he will be mighty pleased. and then he will be motivated to impart you the knowledge. Something happened today to Maitreya and Yajnavalkya also, that he says, you've always been beloved even before, but today you are more beloved because you are saying something that is very much in my heart. Priyavatare sati priyam bhashase. You have always been dear to me, but today you say something that is dear to my heart. That I discovered today that you are a seeker of knowledge. Ehi asva, ehi come, asva, sit down. Because the disciples should sit down. It's called Upanishad. Upa means, in proximity, Ni means below, Sat means to sit down below. So, symbolically, the knowledge flows from a higher level to the lower level, like the water flows from a higher level to lower level. So, symbolically, the seeker of knowledge, the disciples, always sits down at the feet of the teacher. So, hey Maitreyi, come, sit. Meaning that he is invited, she is invited now to receive this knowledge. Vyakhyāsyāmite, I will explain to you what it is that you want to know. Vyachakshanasya tume nididhyāsasvaiti. And when I explain to you, may you carefully listen to me and also meditate upon it. Nididhyāsasva. Meaning that this is not simply listening. Here itself, this text will say, Atma Shotavya Mantavya. That statement comes from this Upanishad, from this dialogue, that the self must be listened to. The Shravanam or listening is not merely act of listening. Shravanam here means the Atma Vichara, where the disciple listens. In the mind of the disciple also, that process of the contemplation, deliberation goes on. Even the disciple looks like a silent person, non-participating person, a listener, but a listener also participates. The mind is very active and contemplating upon what it is that the teacher is explaining. Vyachakshanasya metu nididhyāsasvaiti. Hey Maitreyi, when I explain to you, understand that you have to also participate in this by not only listening but also simultaneously contemplating upon what it is that you are listening. That is how Shravan becomes Shravan is also called Vichara. Vichara means deliberation. So knowledge takes place by Vichara or deliberation. Vichara also is translated as inquiry, but I would prefer to translate Vichara as deliberation. You deliberate upon Atma. Atma vare Shrotavya. You deliberate upon Atma, you deliberate upon the Atma means what then? How do you deliberate on Atma? Atma is subject matter of the Upanishads, and therefore may you deliberate upon the statements or Vakyas of the Upanishads. Knowledge takes place when you deliberate upon something. That a scientist also deliberates upon what it is that he wants to know. In his own way, he may have his own way of, with his various instruments and tools of what it is, but what he does is he deliberates upon what it is that he wants to understand. And therefore the knowledge takes place as a result of vichara or deliberating upon what it is that you want to know. Therefore, hey Maitreyi, now come, sit and listen to me. And when I am explaining to you, we also actively participate by way of nididhyasanam or by way of the meditation or the deliberation upon what it is that I am saying to you. We come then to page number 10. It's a long passage here about what Yajnavalkya says to Maitreyi, and something very famous. Many of you have been listening to Vedanta, would be familiar with this passage, if not the whole passage, part of it anyway. Sahovacha Navare patyuh kamaya patih priyo bhavati atmastu kamaya patih priyo bhavati nava are jaya kamaya jaya priya bhavati atmastu kamaya jaya priya bhavati nava are putranam kamaya putrah priya bhavanti atmastu kamaya putrah priya bhavanti nava are vittasya kamaya vittam priyam bhavati atmastu kamaya vittam priyam bhavati nava are brahmanah kamaya brahma priyam bhavati atmastu kamaya brahma priyam bhavati nava are kshatrasya kamaya kshatram priyam bhavati atmastu kamaya kshatram priyam bhavati nava are lokanam kamaya lokah priya bhavanti atmastu kamaya lokah priya bhavanti nava are devanam kamaya devah priya bhavanti atmastu kamaya devah priya bhavanti nava are bhutanam kamaya bhutani priyani bhavanti atmastu kamaya bhutani priyani bhavanti nava are sarvasya kamaya sarvam priyam bhavati atmastu kamaya sarvam priyam bhavati. Does not miss anything, everything is stated. Navare patyuhu kamaya patih priyoti Maitreyi is not for the sake of husband that husband is dear to a wife. Atmastu kamaya patih priyo bhavati. It is for the sake of the self of the wife that the husband is dear. Navare jar. So Maitreyi may say, that a woman loves a husband not for sake of husband, for her own sake. How about the husband then? Navare jaya kamaya jaya priya bhavati atmastu kamaya jaya priya. It is not for the sake of the wife that the wife is dear to husband. It is for the sake of husband, for the sake of the self. Then a whole list is given. They never get tired of giving all the details. Putranam kamaya, vittasya kamaya, brahmana kamaya, kshatrasya kamaya, lokanam kamaya, devanam kamaya, bhutanam kamaya, sarvasya kamaya. You could have simply said, Navare sarvasya kamaya sarvam priyam bhavati Atmanasu kamaya sarvam prem bhavati. Not for the sake of all that all are dear to me, it is for the sake of self that everything is dear to me. It was simply stated. Why do you say so many things? Puji Swami said, no glossing over. No glossing over it is that you can say sarvam. Simple one statement should have made. Navare sarvasya kamaya sarvam prem bhavati atmanastu kamaya sarvam prem bhavati. He Maitreyi, it is not for the sake of all that all are dear to me. It is for the sake of the self that all are dear to me. That one statement should be enough, is it not? For the sake of husband, for the sake of wife, for the sake of son, for the sake of wealth, for the sake of Brahmana, for the Kshatriya, Devata, Loka, and Bhuta. Just no glossing over. Just to drill the idea in our mind. Because very clear to us. Otherwise, one says, Navare sarvasya kamaya sarvam priyam bhavati, then everything is dear because self is dear. But the sarva, we would say that. But that sarva includes husband and wife and this, that. Perhaps that may not be very evident to us. It would not create that deep impression in our mind. That is why there is no glossing over. Everything is detailed here. The whole list is given. The list, of course, follows what used to be the setup in those days, where husband and wife and son and wealth, and then servants, then Brahmana, Kshatriya, Devata, Lokas, Devatas. What is all these Devatas and Lokas? Because the Vedic society, everybody always wanted to prepare for the world after the death. So this life was very much spent in performing various rituals, Vedic rituals, so that heaven or the desirable outcome is assured for you after the death. So during this life, he will be performing so many homas, and so lot of smoke he must be inhaling, and his eyes must be watering because of smoke, meaning a lot of trouble he must be going through in this life to make sure that he has a proper place in heaven. So that is how, that used to be the value in those days. Today nobody cares for heaven anyway. How come? Heaven is not in our radar, Sorry, we never think of heaven. Because we don't care for that, because we don't believe in that. Basically, we don't have Shraddha. The way we are raised is that there is a world other than this, etc., is of no importance to us, has never been emphasized, has never become an object of interest to us. Only this world has been important to us. And what to do in this world and how to make, how to accomplish things in this world and make your life successful here has always been our priority. So life after that has never been of any importance to us, because who cares? Some people do care. Swami, what happens after that, etc., whatever concerns them after that. Usually today, these days, we are occupied with how to make life successful here. But those days, the life after death was very important. That is why the Devatas are important, because you perform various rituals to propitiate the Devatas, and Devatas in turn will bless you with your fulfilling your desires. So this was the symbiosis, between the human beings and Devatas. You perform the rituals here, Devatas are pleased with you and grant you whatever that you desire. So with that setup, this whole passage comes here again. So the details may not necessarily impress us today, whether the Kshatriyas and Brahmanas and Kshatriyas, and who cares for them? But those days, of course, the Varnashrama Vyavastha was very important. And Brahmana, Kshatriya, they stand for all the Varnas and for the whole society. And then all the beings, Bhutas, stand for all the insentient things also. And the Devas stand for all the Yajna, Yagadis and everything that you do to please the Devatas. Meaning that this passage is based on the way the life used to be in those Vedic times and the mindset that used to be at that time. For us, one statement is important. Navare savasya kamaya sarvam priyam bhavati atmasu kamaya sarvam priyam bhavati. It is not for the sake of all that all is dear to me, it is for the sake of the self that all is dear to me, and a few other things. It is not for the sake of husband, the husband is dear to me, to the wife, it is for the sake of self that the husband is dear. Not for the sake of wife that wife is dear, it is for the sake of the self that wife is not. This sounds very selfish, is it not so? What do you mean, Swami, I love my husband? You're telling me I don't love husband for the sake of husband? I love him. He would say, I love my wife. But here is very clearly said, love that we have for anything other than ourselves is only in a secondary sense. In primary sense, what we love or who we love is ourselves. And anything else or anybody else becomes an object of love as long as they help me love myself. The primary love affair that is going on is with myself. And if you aid that, if you become conducive or helpful to me in being comfortable with myself, basically what is meant by happiness is being comfortable with myself. Next time you are happy, observe. What makes you happy is when you are comfortable with yourself, when you are accepting yourself. Therefore, we like those people who make us feel good about ourselves. Swamiji, you are wonderful, look at your glasses and look at this and look at that. Wow. I feel very happy. I like those people. What did you say, Swami? This today in your class, nothing made sense to me. I don't like that person who criticizes me. I like the person who makes me feel good about myself. So basically happiness means feeling good about myself. Understand? So we like some people because they make us feel good about ourselves. There are some people uncanny knack, of making us uncomfortable with ourselves. So an old friend comes in, Swamiji, do you remember in the 3rd grade you failed in that? You remember that? I don't like that person. I don't remember that kind of a thing. So we like basically ourselves, and what it means that I like the comfort with myself. When I am comfortable with myself, I am accepting of myself, I feel that I am worthy in my own perception. This is what we are all seeking all the time. And when even in a material pursuit, when we become successful, we are happy. I become happy when I get a promotion, when I am happy when I am successful in my business, etc., etc. Whatever I define success as, I am happy because that success makes me feel good about myself. I feel worthy in my own perception that I am all right. My basic need is to feel worthy in my own perception. And whatever makes me do that becomes dear to me. Because it is I who is dear to me, meaning that worthy self is dear to me, not just self. Swamiji, the self is important, and then why do people commit suicide? The worthy self, that is what we love. And whoever makes me feel worthy also becomes an object of love, because basically I love the worthy self. Atmastu kamaya. So everything else is dear only in a secondary sense, that it makes me feel good about myself. And so since I love myself, I love you when you make me feel good about myself. Atmastu kamaya. This is a very fundamental truth that is revealed here. That ultimately it is the self that is the dearest to us. In this manner, it may sound that we are all selfish, that we only love ourselves. It may be so. But then what's the point, Swamiji? Why does Lord Krishna says be a contributor rather than a consumer? When you consume, then you are happy. How can you be happy when you contribute? We become happy when we experience something pleasurable, when we gain something that we desire. Why do they say that? Be a contributor rather than being a consumer. When I make you happy, it makes me feel happy also. Why is it so? Why would it be that when I perform an act of kindness, I go out of my way and perform a small act of kindness, I find that looks like you are in need of water, I bring a glass of water and offer to you, I feel happy about myself. Why is it so? That is because the self that you are is the self that I am. And that's the reason why the best way of becoming happy is by making someone else happy, because that is a happiness for which I have not to spend anything. For making myself happy, a lot of expenditure is involved, and it is only a fleeting happiness. The happiness that comes from making someone else happy is a lasting happiness. Anyway, it is for the sake of self that something is happy, dear to me. And therefore, the last statement in the passage 5, Atmavare drashtavyah Shrotavyah Mantavyah Nididhyasitavyah Maitreyi Atmano va are darshanena Shravanena Matya Vijnanena Idam sarvam viditam. Since Atma is the dearest to me, the only object of love is Atma. Except that Atma may not be what we today think Atma is. Today it is my ego that I think is Atma. Sometimes the body is Atma, sometimes the mind is Atma, and often it is ego that is Atma. But it is Atma is really true self, that is what is really dear to me. So that is something to be discovered. Atma vare drashtabhya. Therefore, hey Maitreyi, the Atma must be drashtabhya, must be seen. Darshanam means must be immediately seen. In Vedanta, there is an experience called aparoksha jnanam, an immediate knowledge. Because Atma is not something that is different from me. What I want to know is myself. Therefore, knowing myself is somewhat different from knowing an object such as ghatapata. So understand, two kinds of knowledge is there. One is knowledge of something that is other than me, where an object such as a little part is objectified. In that knowledge there is a duality involved where I am the knower and this is object of knowledge. So most of the knowledge that we have involves the duality of the knower and the known. But what about the knowledge of myself? Would that involve the duality of knower and known? Whatever I know is always different from me, or I am different from what it is that I know, and therefore that kind of separation or duality cannot possibly exist in knowledge of myself, because if I know myself also as an object such as a part, then the knower is different from the known. Atma vaya drashtavya. Hey Maitreyi, the self must be known as an immediate reality, as the immediate reality of yourself. How do I know? The point is, do I know myself today or not? Please tell me. Do you know yourself or not? Yes? Then why are you here? Unless I know myself, I cannot function. Right now I know myself as a speaker, that is when I can perform the act of speaking. Right now you know yourself as listener, that is when you can perform the act of listening. Whenever we do anything, there is always a conclusion about who I am, then alone any action or any vyavahara, any interaction can take place. For any vyavahara or an interaction to take place, there must be in my mind a conclusion about who I am, and of course who you are. So don't we know ourselves? Don't you know yourself? You're a listener. Unless that conclusion is there, unless that knowledge is there, understanding is there, I cannot do anything. First thing that must take place is who I am. And then only I can act properly, I can interact properly. Then I am a speaker, then my action is different. I am a listener, my action will be of one kind. Eater, drinker, walker, talker. So is it not that we always know ourselves? Can it ever be that you do not know yourself? Can it ever be that you don't know yourself? No? That is, in deep sleep you do not know. That's okay. I did not mean to trap you, but the thing is that in all the waking hours, we always know ourselves. Then what are they talking about? Atma, drashtavya, shrotavya, mantavya. I know myself, but then I do not know myself as I am, unfortunately. Or I know myself already, but many other things are mixed up with the self. I am aware of myself. Why is it? Because the self is self-evident. I cannot but be aware of myself. I am always aware of myself, but at the same time, also aware of other things like my body I am aware of, my mind I am aware of, my intellect I am aware of, sense organs I am aware of. I am aware of various things. You know what I do? I lump them all together. I do not realize that my awareness of my body, mind, etc. is of a different nature from the awareness that I have of myself. So both are shining. Self also is shining, the body-mind complex also is shining. Isn't it? So is it my fault that I take them to be one? Understand that they are shining, but they are shining in different ways. The self is shining as a subject, the body, etc. are shining as objects. And the problem is I do not distinguish the two, and therefore I take them to be of the same reality, same level. And therefore the body, mind, etc., which I am aware of, I take them also to be the self. So therefore, Atma Varidashtavya, meaning that Atma must be known as the self is. We have to then separate the self from the non-self. For that, Shrotavya, you must listen to the teacher. Mantavya, you must make that knowledge of your own. Not just listen, but then apply your own mind with reasoning and understand exactly what it is that the teacher says and assimilate that knowledge. There is something special about this self-knowledge. Nididhyasitavya. So, Shravanam, Manam, Nididhyasanam. Why should I know myself? Why should I know Atma? Atmano Darshanena, Shravanena, Matya, Vijnanena, Saram Viditam. Hey Maitri, by the knowledge of self, through hearing, reflection and meditation, everything is known. All this is known. That's the reward of the self-knowledge. If you know the self, you know everything. I don't care to know everything. Then, of course, we are not in the same page. But then, we assume that everybody wants to know everything. We'll talk about it tomorrow. That by knowing the self, everything as well is known. We'll continue. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Krutau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururatmedi Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavadvyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Om Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.